Okay, we're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order, and at this time, we'll have Mr. Lighty to do the roll call, please.
Councilmember Hendricks.
Here.
Councilmember Griffin. Here. Councilmember Eubanks.
Present.
Councilmember Edwards.
Here.
Councilmember Oliver.
Here.
Council President Simmons.
Here.
Madam President, all 6 council members are in attendance, and therefore a quorum is present.
Thank you. The nature of the call meeting today is, this afternoon, is to discuss the proposed, the current old parking deck and the closure of that. So at this time, we do have some structural concerns about it, and then we did receive a letter in regards to it that it was not structural safe or sound for our citizens, and so safety is always the first of importance for our employees and for our citizens, and that everyone who may use it and utilize it at this time. So at this time, we can have any type of discussion from the council at this time.
Well, I guess I'll start with you. About to say something? Okay. Of course, we've known for some time now there were issues with the parking deck, but this letter that we received today, for me personally, kind of sheds some new light on it and kind of caused me to really give a hard look at it. And of course, I won't read the entire letter. I'll leave that up to you if you want to do it later or share it with the public. But when you get down towards the end and the wording of life safety concern kind of sums it up for me. And I don't know how I could, as a council member, get a letter like this saying that the deck has many more issues now than it had in 2018 when the inspection was done, and that there are life safety concerns there that I could lay down at night and know there are people walking through that deck and parking through that deck, or parking in that deck. So that's the reason I'm here today in support of going ahead and closing that deck down. But of course, the questions we've got to answer is how do we do it? And I would like to make a suggestion is that we, through the month of December, through the holidays, we allow free parking in the new deck. Just raise the gates and our gift to the citizens. And it's a good time to get familiar with the new deck and kind of take the sting out of what we're having to do here today, if that's what we decide to do. So those are my recommendations and my thoughts.
Thank you, Councilman Oliver. In regards to what he's mentioned, these letters that Councilman Oliver mentioned, the letter was first distributed to us in June of 2017 by LBYD Incorporated. They are the ones that did the civil engineers did the structural inspection. There you go. Thank you. Inspection on it, and then we received another one on today from Mayor Betterton. The first one came up under Mayor Holt's administration when he was the mayor, and then one came today up under Mayor Betterton. So that's what Councilman Oliver is talking about, and we do have the letters in hand, but I won't insult your intelligence because all of the council have read these, and we all have those. So that is why we are here today. But while I'm talking, I guess I'll just go ahead and say mine. I do happen to agree with Councilman Oliver. As I stated when I opened, safety is always the first and foremost concern to me. So that is why it impressed upon my heart that we have this meeting today to close this because of the safety. I would never want anyone to be hurt. And if it's not sound, and if it's that unsafe, I don't think that we should leave it open until January. We need to close it immediately now. And that's just my opinion. I would like to give the citizens and all of those who utilize it some time. And my suggestion would be to close it at the end of business on Friday. And I do agree with you to leave the bars up in the new deck and let everybody have an early Christmas presents and allow them to park free at the deck. It is not their fault that we did not act in 2017 to be good stewards and protect the integrity of our citizens.
I think the sentence, Mr. Oliver, you were looking for, because this is the one that struck me. It's the critical sentence in that letter dated today. Lack of implementation of repairs creates a life safety concern for occupants of the parking garage. So we had an opportunity in 2017. We did not adhere to it. As we know, costs have increased, and now we are in a situation where there's a life safety issue. And like you, I can't stand the thought of having something happen and we knew and did not act to make it better or safer for our residents. And fortunately, luckily, we have a parking deck, a brand new one, spiffy, brand new, nice and neat, and available to handle the additional parking that would be needed for shoppers for our local stores.
Thank you, Ms. Eubanks. Any other council members want to expound?
I mean, he hadn't come and done another inspection. This is just an assumption on his part of what he did in 2017. Is that correct?
Are we correct, Mayor? And
He did no additional
I
inspection.
mean, all we did is ask his opinion or.
Asked, based on his knowledge, based on the two letters there, that was his letter back to me.
So the first letter was in 17 or 18, whatever.
17.
17.
The follow-up letter on, in 2018. And then that letter, and he's actually the one that did the inspection first time, and I got his contact information via Calvin and Patrick, who I guess is the big guy at LYBD.
So he wasn't in town recently and looked at it?
This is just an assumption on his part that.
Based on his knowledge of what they did the first time around and the time that it.
Well, that assumption contains some pretty strong language. And,
it's been 7 years.
and I tell you what, when you put me as a council member in a position with language like that, I have to look at you as an expert that's using that type of language to make a decision about it. So, I mean, I didn't read the entire letter, but there is a very strong opinion in here about that parking deck, about it was in poor shape in 2017 and even poorer shape now that he predicted. And so the letter to me sounded as if he had been here and put his hands on it, but okay, well.
Well, what prompted this letter that we got dated today?
Prompted based on, Mr. Hendricks asked me about that study. Y'all had the study. And he asked me if we ought to contact him. I said, sure. So I got him on the phone and asked him for a letter. I talked to Mr. Ashley Carden is his name,
When did you talk to him?
earlier in the week.
And then we just received a letter today of this.
He sent it today and I sent it out to you today.
Well, the thing that bothers me, I mean, and I'm the last, I'm in agreement with everyone. I mean, we sure don't want something to happen. But the thing that bothers me too is, I mean, we've told people that, the merchants and all that we're gonna leave this thing open until after Christmas. And it's been publicized and all, and now we're kind of going back on what we agreed to. And I'm not, I'm thinking the cards come out and, give them free parking, that's fine, I don't care. But, I think, we need to give at least 10 days.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
How, it wasn't as if we just woke up today and decided we want to close the parking deck. We're basing it on an expert opinion that used the word life safety issues. That's what got my attention. So how do we square that? As I told the mayor, out of one side of our mouth, we say there's life safety issues with the parking deck, but parking there for another 10, 15, 20 days. So I want to wash my hands of this. I want to go on record that I think that parking deck is unsafe. I'd close it tonight if it was my call. And I wouldn't want my son walking through that parking deck, or my wife, or you, or your family, or anyone. So if this council decides to keep that parking deck open, I want a sign on it that says park at your own risk,
So,
based on this letter.
I agree, and I think too, we have new information, Mr. Edwards. That new information prompts in me a reason to have a different
Correct.
conversation with not only individuals, and fortunately, we've got wonderful news media here today to help us, but we've got new information that tells us that maybe this isn't the best idea, and we had hoped it would work. We had hoped it would last that long. Unfortunately, this information tells us that may not be true, and I'm willing to reassess that based on this information.
Yeah, and I don't want to do it, because you're right, we did tell everyone, and I hate that that's why I offered up the free parking. And I did get a call from one of our downtown businessmen who saw the alert in the Times Daily and was asking me, and he said, you're absolutely doing the right thing. He said, if I owned that parking deck and I got a letter like that, I would close it this afternoon. So I think if people see the letter, it might change their opinion about it, but I don't know how we can say it's unsafe and then keep it open for, 10 more days, or however many days is decided.
I agree with what you're saying. It's either unsafe or it's not unsafe. It's either life-threatening or it's not life-threatening. But looking at the letter from 2017, the one that was sent to Mayor Holt, and then the one that was given us out today, where it says that there's life safety concerns, and I'm looking at the one in 2017, I don't see that in here. But if he hasn't been here to see that, I'm not quite sure how he can say that, that it's life safety concerns when he has not put another visual eye or been up here to even look at it. However, I do agree with Councilman Oliver. Safety is the utmost concern, and as it should be for all of our utmost concern, for everyone. So I do agree, I'm with you. If it was up to me, we would have closed it yesterday. But we got this today, and so that's why we are here today. And I do agree that we should close it, but I am willing to give it, I'm willing to bend just a little bit to give it until Friday, to give them an opportunity to find out. If the council say, hey, close it effective tonight in the morning, that it don't be open, I'll roll with that as well. It's a safety.
My next question is, what are we gonna do with the old? We gonna put a sign on, say closed, just leave it standing there, we gonna tear everything down?
Well, at this meeting tonight, we're not here for that, we're just here for the closure of that, so that's another conversation at another meeting.
I'm just throwing that out, saying
Yeah.
that, and I know that, we're not talking about that.
Right.
I understand that, but, we can't just put a sign and say closed and just leave the thing sitting there forever. We got to do something.
Well, we're gonna do something, but that's gonna be at another time, at another meeting and another discussion.
It's gonna wind up being a skateboard park and a graffiti alley. We don't care. I know that's another discussion.
Right, yeah. Mr. Hendricks?
On Monday, the 18th, we had a called meeting here, and we sat in a circle. And I said at that meeting, if it's dangerous, we shouldn't park in it. If it's almost dangerous, that's a totally different story. But I was assured that it is dangerous. And we received a letter today that it's unfounded as far as anybody walking through the building. We got pictures of the day from the mayor, and they all looked bad. And so I have two choices. It is dangerous or it's not dangerous. And if it is, nobody needs to park in it tomorrow. Because as I said on the 18th, we will never pay that bill off if somebody gets hurt in it. And I heard someone today say, a smart crook would be over there falling down, laying a piece of concrete on their head and holler, oh me. So we don't even need to give someone that opportunity.
Okay, so at the last meeting in November, we voted to postpone the contract for the demolition. My hope in that was that we could actually get LBYD back up here to do a current inspection before we tear it down. And if we were told it needed to be torn down, I would be okay with that. Instead, we got a phone call. So, and he was pretty adamant that he felt like 7 years, he could give us his opinion without looking at it. I still wish that we had a physical inspection. The letter states that demolition, in their opinion, is a reasonable course of action. It doesn't state that it needs to be closed immediately. So that's what I focused on. But I do agree that the number one function of government is public safety. No one should argue with that. So, you know, we wanted to keep it open through the Christmas season for the downtown business owners. I still wish we could do that. I feel like what we should be focused on right now is a systematic way to close it, not a chaotic way to close it, which I think requires a timeline. But for us to do that and still keep public safety top of mind, my recommendation is that we work out all the steps that need to happen for it to be closed. And in that interim, that we have our parking personnel perform daily inspections over there. If there are any signs of anything that need to be addressed, they can address them that morning. We were told in that meeting that someone, I think you referenced when we had our circuit, that it's not in danger of collapsing. The issue is peeling concrete, and we're concerned someone could get injured by that. Well, that's what we need to be inspecting on a daily basis. And if we see some loose concrete, we need to remove it. But in the meantime, we need to figure out what this list of things to close it. I need to have a meeting with the downtown business owners. You know, we need to have a parking committee meeting to talk about all the folks that have parking passes right now, and all the things the mayor is going to need to do in preparation for all the phone calls he's going to get, and all the things we're not even thinking about right now. I have no problem closing it early. I just want us to do it in a systematic way, and I think we need to have a parking, if we vote to close it tonight, I don't know that we can put a date on that yet. I feel like we need to have a parking committee meeting to help us determine that date, and then we move forward with it. I feel like that keeps the public safe, and it keeps us out of chaos with the folks that use the deck on a daily basis.
Mr. Hendricks, I'm not aware of a parking committee.
I don't know that that's what it's called. I'm not on a parking committee, but I know we have. Mayor, will you explain that?
While he's getting up here, you can't predict when concrete's gonna fall. You could do inspections, you could have people over there standing under it looking all day, and it may be a piece fall and hit them in the head, but I respect what you're wanting to do there. But how do you explain, and then again, this may never happen, but you gotta think, what if it does? A mom's getting out of her car, a piece of concrete falls at night, hits her child in the head. Our excuse that it wasn't closed was because we're trying to get our ducks in a row and get all things systematically put together so we could convert. I mean, that explanation wouldn't hold water in court with anyone. And it certainly wouldn't hold water with a mom whose child. So that's what I'm thinking about.
I get it.
And I want to do what you said too, in a systematic way, and do it orderly, and take care of everyone. That's why I offered up, let's just open the gates and everybody park down there. And because, again, as Michelle said, we wouldn't be having this conversation had we not got this strongly worded letter today from an expert. I'm sorry, Mayor.
And then we've had since 2017 to get our ducks in a row, and we failed to do so.
So you, state your question again.
I did not have the question.
Yeah,
What is
a
parking? Okay,
Okay.
is the progress of the new deck and the old deck, as we've been working on that. I met with some folks internal employees, our parking individuals, Bob, Steve Eason, Chris Tyser, as he helped us logistically move around and how they need to change. Todd and Bill from the engineering department, Gary Williamson as we need him. Elizabeth has been working with them on, getting our cards ready, all the things we had to do, the training for the gates and all the stuff we had to do, the credit cards, so a whole bunch of things that we had to do there. So that committee has just been internal employees that I've used. So the next step for us, we sent out, y'all got an email from Elizabeth with stating after we met. In fact, y'all got a copy of the email that I sent out today, and I'm not sure what the date was. It was just a copy of that email basically saying, here's what we're gonna do, and how we're gonna, January the 6th would be, we'd start, the old deck would close on December 31st, and the whole steps of what we would do to make this move forward. We don't have all the cards to all the monthly owners. That's been going through Bob and Frank Cheney, and I know we checked this afternoon, and I think only a couple of the monthly folks have picked theirs up. So we got to get that taken care of. I know what Jimmy's saying is that if the guard's going to be up, we won't have to worry about that.
No.
Certainly give us some time to do that. So I certainly have no problem closing this deck. Not at all. All I'm asking, we need to have some kind of reasonable way of notifying the public.
Let me ask you, as the leader of the city, we get tasked with making the decisions, but you're the leader of the city. With the information you got today, the words you're reading on that paper, how soon would you close that deck?
Well, based on my conversations with Bill Manson, Todd Sullivan, and Gary Williamson, who I have a lot of trust in, and they see it every single day. They don't feel like it's collapsible.
No, we've been told it's not going to collapse. We're talking about concrete
Yeah,
falling.
but I think that, and I think we've been watching that. I know I've gotten several calls from Frank Cheney about the pictures. That's why I turned around and sent those to you.
Well, I guess if we've got so much trust in our own people, I'm not sure why we asked for this letter. To be honest with you.
That was my question exactly, Mr. Oliver. Why did we reach out to them in that case if we were willing to go with what they said?
Well, based on what y'all gotten with the study, I was just asking where they think. Do y'all want to bring somebody back there to look at? I don't know what we paid them for it.
Well,
but-
one day, we're sitting there and we get email messages from you with all these photos of the concrete crumbling. The next minute, we get this conversation where it's, okay, we can wait. Which is it? Which is it? Is it,
I've never
our
said-
deck is crumbling and here are photos of it?
I've never said we could.
No. I'm just saying you sent us the photos of all that devastation and destruction, and here we are, we're talking about going ahead and closing it, and now it's like, wait, I need till the 31st. Which is it?
31st was not my date. 31st came through the DFA. As far as change that, I'm willing to do whatever you instruct me to do.
But the DFA are not the ones that's
I
responsible for making these
I
decisions. The
understand
cities,
that.
it's these up here.
I-
And we have to be good stewards and
I-
responsible for these citizens and the safety.
I'm not questioning that. What I'm saying is, some way I need to be able to notify and move forward with this. It's just going.
I think the citizen, if we make the right decision and their safety, I think that they would appreciate we looking out for their livelihood and their well-being and their safety. And trust me, they'll get the word. Because all you gotta do is do a press release.
Let me ask,
The media's here, they're all over, they'll get it.
let me ask this question.
Sure.
before you start.
Absolutely.
How soon, okay, you recommend Friday, 5 o'clock.
Jimmy recommended tonight.
Will that give merchants, everybody an opportunity? If they come to park in the morning and the thing's closed.
It won't be in the morning if I said Friday.
Well, I know, but if we do it immediately, it would be.
Email blasts go out.
So I'm saying if we did it Friday, does that give emergency, everybody enough time to realize it, and we give them free parking at the new place till the end of the month or whatever. I mean, is that a problem, giving them free parking? Is there a reason why we couldn't do that?
There's no reason.
They got the word out about this meeting today, it hit the
So-
media quick, because as you can say, Councilman Oliver said he received calls.
How quickly can those cars become ready?
If you're gonna do it,
Well, if
if you're gonna do it free, you won't have to worry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm, that's.
We would have an entire month of December to get the cards ready, and if they weren't ready by the middle of January,
And
so
keep
be
it
it.
rolling.
And
That's right.
We just, you
Keep
allow
that
free
data.
parking and,
The cards are ready. They have not been distributed because they're waiting on, when we take them to get them delivered, then they're supposed to pay for them at that point in time.
I still think
So
we promised free parking in the deck
Right.
through the holidays.
Right.
If we close this deck, we need to leave the arms up.
And that's what
I
we've
think
been
we all
told.
agree with that,
Yeah.
correct?
Right.
I think
And
that's the
as
least-
far as someone showing up and the deck being closed, I think they're gonna figure out a place to park and get to
There'll be
work.
signage.
But again, I just don't want to do it in a chaotic way that, you know, and again, I don't know what all the steps that the mayor needs. Can you
Well,
expand on that and give us?
Obviously,
you
when we
think
first
48
started
hours
talking,
enough?
obviously, when this, we talked about it earlier, the option of just free with arms up wasn't part of that. So if that's the case, that'll give us a little time to handle that. And all I'm saying, if Ms. Simmons is saying 5 o'clock on Friday, I mean, we'll go to work, you know, sharing that information. We've depended on Mike Baggett over with parking. Obviously, he's hand delivered everything. We can easily do that. So, and, you know, Bob's actually the parking czar. He has.
Can we do midnight Friday?
Oh, to accommodate those
We got-
last minute.
Well, we got
people.
First Fridays.
Yeah,
No.
no, it's next Thursday. They're doing it the same night as the
We've got the
parade.
tree lighting.
Or
But-
anything else
Yeah, you
downtown?
do.
So-
Got the
so
tree
what I-
lighting.
I guess
Midnight
what I'm-
Friday is fine with me.
What I'm guessing is a couple things. We've got to, obviously, the first thing I would do would be call Chris Tyser with the police department. They would do barricades, but I need to get with David and he need to make some signage. We're also gonna need to, deal with access, you know, the skateboarders and all that. We don't want them in there. So, I mean, there's several things to think through with that, is what I'm saying.
once that deck is posted closed, that relieves us, I would think, of liability from people that want to go in here and skateboard and do all that stuff. But I'm still, I gotta tell you, I hate to beat a dead horse here, but, you know, still, the letter shook me up. And you know, and I guess I was assuming this guy had been up here, because I knew that you had contact, I wanted to
Well, I
get him up here.
wanted him to come up.
But the letter shook me up with the language in it, that, I mean, this language in there is like, you know, this place is unsafe. I mean, it was like he couldn't stress it enough that it was unsafe. So it still concerns me that, you know, we're trying to figure out what day to close it, because I know we're gonna have a big crowd of people downtown Friday night, and again, you can't predict when concrete's gonna fall. So I don't know, I mean, and it may never a piece fall, but I'm only going by this letter here. It's just not, again, something I woke up today and said, we gotta close this deck. So,
Well, it's the
It's
same
scary.
situation, we haven't always had two decks, so you still have that deck, and
Yeah.
the only things going on is the tree lighting right there at Wilson Park, and that's it, there is no first Friday.
It's inconveniencing people to the max, and I hate it, but I would rather inconvenience people than go to their funeral.
That's
I really
a
would.
fact.
Okay, as I understand from Billy, I mean, my desire was to go ahead and close it, it's whatever the date was. I mean, we initially said the 31st, but with this, you know, to close it. And what he tells me, I as mayor could close it, and then we'd come back and y'all would do a resolution. Well, what you're here to do today is pass a resolution, and what, I think the resolution has whatever the date is at time. Is that right, Bill?
Yes, it's
Blank at this point.
It's blank, right? It's to be filled in.
Even though, as having said, it scares me to death, I'm trying to accommodate everybody here. My motion is we close it at 5 o'clock Friday afternoon.
I second it.
I love it when Florence is in the news, especially if it makes national news. This is not the news I want Florence to be in the paper for. I don't want anybody from NBC to come there and do a little report, because they will tell what we knew and what we didn't do. If it's dangerous, close it tonight.
I think we have a motion and a second on the floor. Madam President.
Okay. So we had a motion by Mr. Oliver, second by myself, Katrina Simmons. Do you have a motion for immediate consideration?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of the motion? Yeah.
Immediate consideration?
Yeah. Do you have a motion for the adoption?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Eubanks, second by Mr. Oliver. Any discussion? Now you may speak.
Thank you.
I want to make sure that we're clear that we have decided this is Friday at 5 p.m.
That is the motion.
End of business on Friday.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I'd like for our media that is here, if you could get the word out that that's gonna happen, that would help us out a lot, and that these issues of why we're doing it. And, you know, it's like, you know, you can park in there Friday if you want to, but just be aware these things are going on, and that's why we're closing it at 5.
It's all derived because of the safety of our citizens.
Wait. You probably park in there Friday night, is that what you said?
No, he said at 5.
Oh,
5 p.m.
Mr. Griffin?
If it's dangerous, it's dangerous. But I'm voting to close it. And if that's included with 5 p.m. on Friday, that's better than Saturday.
Okay, and I will call a meeting with all the downtown business owners. I'll try to have that Friday morning. At one
I
of the
texted
restaurants.
Chris and told him this meeting was happening.
I've already spoken with Chris. Chris has his hands full with the Christmas parade. He's gonna help where he can, but I'm probably gonna need to get out on the sidewalks the next couple of days. But I'd like to have that meeting so that I can answer any questions that they have. I'll present a slideshow of the pictures. It's all right with you guys. I don't mind providing copies of the letter. And as long as we can, I assume it's a public document at this point, and we'll move forward.
Do you take minutes of those meetings?
No.
Could you? I would like to know what's
You and I
done.
will invite you to come and take minutes.
I would like to know what's done before I read it in the paper,
Come and take minutes.
because
That's
that happens too often.
You're a council member, you're welcome to come.
Yeah, because it's actually a co-meeting between me and President Simmons, because districts 1 and 2 represent the downtown business district.
Any other council members have any comments?
No, I appreciate the opportunity to have this and to discuss the safety of it. It's incredibly vital. And to echo Mr. Hendrick's comment, we have nothing, there's no more important job than public safety. And this is the top of that heap.
Thank you. Any other discussions? And one other thing, the nature of this meeting was strictly just for the closure of the parking deck, had nothing to do with demolition of the parking deck. There will be another conversation at another time, at another meeting. With all that being said, all in favor of the motion?
6-0, motion carries.
No additional business. They will close Friday at 5 p.m. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming.